Welcome to the Global Marriage Booster. Joining us, this is so exciting. Joining us is Dr. John Gray, the illustrious legend in his own time. Dr. John Gray is the author of the most well-known and trusted relationship book of all time, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. USA Today has listed this book as one of the top 10 most influential books of the last quarter century. In hardcover, it was the #1 best-selling book of the 1990s. Dr. Gray's books are translated into approximately 45 languages in more than 100 countries and continues to be a bestseller. Dr. Gray has written over 20 books. His most recent book is Beyond Mars and Venus, which is a book that focuses on new relationship skills for a complex modern world. And this bio could actually go on for the whole hour, but we want to hear Dr. Gray's wisdom. Thank you so much for joining us on this Global Marriage Summit, Dr. Gray. Wow, wow.
I am so happy to be with you. It's an honor for me to participate. Marriage is dear to my heart. And let me give a preference to everything I say, which is I've been married to my wife, Bonnie, for 34 years. We were together 40 years, but she passed 2 years ago. So in my conversation, I'm going to refer to her as if she's here now because she's still in my heart. And all my examples come from our marriage. And certainly I try them out with my clients, but everything I teach is from my own life experience. And so many of the things she taught me. So I'll be referring to her all the time as if we're still together, because we are still together in my heart.
You are in heart, in spirit, in soul. Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. I'd really like to start then by asking you, this incredible marriage that you built, what did you learn over the years that you can share with our listeners to help us all succeed?
I'll share something which is special to my heart, which is one is, I don't know that we built a marriage, just a terminology here, but we grew together in love. And we always grew together in love. And she pointed that out to me very astutely one time. It was around 20 years in the marriage. And I'd say the first 10 years, we were still working these things out, a lot of challenges, a lot of misunderstandings. And that's really when I wrote the book, Men Are From Mars, just the common misunderstandings that we had and most couples have, because it's like we're from different planets. We have to learn the language, we have to learn to connect and what's most important and where somebody's coming from, rather than thinking something's wrong with them or that they don't love us, but learning to correctly interpret behaviors. So it took us about 10 years to get this down. And I'd say then another 10 years of working it out very smoothly, but around 20 years, I think we went from being a soulmates to soul twins. It was like we were the same, except we still had that same passion. And that's what's different. A lot of couples can stay together and they've learned to, navigate the landmines. They avoid things. They learn what they can do, what they can get, but they feel not fully open where they can share everything inside. And what we learned to do is how to be 100% open about what goes on inside of us in a non-judgmental, non-critical way. And so we're able to sustain those sweet honeymoon feelings right from the beginning. And that's what I think is the hope for a lot of people who want that. Some people don't care about that. They just want harmony, but to feel passion as well. And it was around 20 years. And I remember it was gotten just so great. And I said to her, honey, how would you rate me as a husband? She said, John, as a father to our children, we have 3 daughters, you're A+, you're the best. I can't imagine a better father. As a husband, you're not perfect. And of course, we'd already learned part of a good marriage is never demanding perfection. So I could hear that quite easily and chuckled. And then she said, you're not a perfect husband, but you've given me the greatest gift any woman could want. And that's part of what she does. If there's something negative, she's going to always bounce back with something positive. And she said, you've given me the greatest gift any woman could want. And I said, what's that? And she said, I know after 20 years, I can say things, do things that really push your buttons, that upset you a lot and make you angry inside. But whenever you get angry with me, you stop talking, you go to your cave, you do some magic. I don't know what you do, but you always come out of that cave with more love. And the emphasis there is not just coming out being loving, coming out with more love. And then she said, and so I know, this is her talking. And so I know there's nothing I can say or do that will ever push you out of my life. And
Mm.
that is the
Wow.
greatest gift a man can give a woman. If men could just
Wow.
get that, it's safety. And
Mm.
women bond. They don't want to open their heart and bond, attach. That's part of what love is. It's attachment. And to feel that I'm going to attach myself, become one with you, and then you'll leave me. That's terrifying. And it prevents a lot of women from opening up because they've opened up and it seems like he's gone. So I can't do that again because it's too painful. But what she learned is, yes, I do pull away. Every man does. Every woman does. This part of life is you connect and you pull away. You connect and you pull away.
Mhm.
It's a dance, you know, when we
Mhm.
dance, we move forward, we move back, we twirl her around, all that. You know, this is natural. And but that it's frightening to women, particularly when a man stops talking and withdraws. And she could see I did it, but I always came back with more love. And more love means I don't come back like, all right, let's have that argument again, or, I want to point out to you what you did wrong. I made a pledge earlier in our marriage that I would never, ever demand an apology from her. Now, I think apologies are great. If you can apologize, that's great, but we're not all perfect people. And I remember it was about 3 years in the marriage where I said to her, why is it I'm always saying I'm sorry? You never say you're sorry. It's like everything's my fault. And she said, John, I know everything's not your fault. I'm not a perfect person. But when I was a little girl growing up, everything was always my fault. My
Mm.
mother just couldn't have the ability to give me that kind of love.
Wow.
And so I love you so much. And if I said I'm sorry to you, and you said you should be, it would break my heart. It would
Wow.
literally break my heart. I would die. But you have to know that deep inside, I always am trying to be my best. And I knew that. And so I said to her, and I'm so glad it happened. Not that it has to happen for everybody, but it's a nice story. I said to her, I just want you to know, honey, I'm with you forever. And you never have to say you're sorry to me. You can if you wish, but you never have to apologize even. I know you're doing your best. And I made that commitment because a lot of couples, they sort of get into this thing where I'm not going to make up till you say you're sorry, and I'm going to withhold myself. And I had that tendency myself, but after she tearfully told me it would break my heart, I would just die if you were to reject my apology. So I said, okay, now I did it as an act of my love for her. And it freed me from the need to demand apologies. I think we should never demand apologies with someone you love and care about. It's nice if they do it, but we need to make it safe for them to do it. And I think towards the end of our marriage, at times she would apologize for things, but never with a demand from my side. And that was her own
Wow.
growth of love.
That's great. Beautiful. That is so beautiful. And, Dr. Gray, you said that, your wife said, well, you went into your cave and I don't know what you did in there, but you came out with more love. So can we know a little bit of what you
What I do in the
did?
cave?
What
Oh,
did you do in the
absolutely.
cave?
Okay. So one is for women to understand, but two is for men to learn what to do in the cave, because not all men exactly know the best ways to come out with more love. Some men will come back with love, but how to come back with more love. That's a little added addition to that. And first of all, the cave, if anybody's familiar with the book, Men Are From Mars, one of the most popular ideas is the understanding that when men experience stress, they need to withdraw for a little while to forget their problems. See, the whole idea for men is forget it. And the whole thing for women is remember it. That's how women feel better, is let's talk about it. Let's talk about the problems. That actually makes her feel better if men could just understand that. There's a time to solve problems, and there's a time to solve the problem of her needing attention, affection, empathy, understanding, compassion, and interaction. Women need to feel connection and then they feel good. I need to feel connection to feel better, but to feel good, I need to feel my independence. And that's a very big difference. And so when men are stressed, they tend to withdraw from connection to do something to distract them from thinking about their problems. It's like temporarily, I want to forget it, leave it all in the past. I'm just going to do something to feel good. And then once I feel good, then I can re-enter the relationship with more love. Now, the reason I was actually to experience the magic is, first of all, I have to say to myself, I need to take some alone time. And now I have I didn't put this in Men Are From Mars. It's in my later work about Beyond Mars and Venus, where I talk about not only are men and women different in our behaviors, but biologically, we're so different when it comes to hormones.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everybody's heard of stress hormones. Now, stress hormones are really challenging in relationship because when you're producing cortisol, the stress hormone, you disconnect from your ability to feel love. You may love someone, but you can't feel love. That's very important to know. You can actually measure this biologically when you're producing stress hormones. Blood flow stops to the prefrontal cortex of your brain, where you can reflect on what my reaction is and not act on it. You see, we're human beings. We just have reaction. I like that. I don't like that. That makes me angry. Well, that hurts. Well, that makes me sad. Well, I'm afraid. These are automatic reactions. We have no choice. They're there. But from the front part of the brain, we have the ability to reflect on what our automatic reactions are and change them once we learn how. So when I go to my cave, if I was angry, say, about something, I would go to my cave and I would say, all right, now any of this anger or hurt or judgment or wanting to argue back, that's just my reactive brain. It's automatic. And I know it doesn't work. Has it ever worked for anybody? It's like couples that complain, like playing ping pong. Boom, 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 boom. She gets upset. He becomes more upset. It's like a competition. Then she has more problems. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Right.
So it's only when our stress hormone is low that we can remember this doesn't work and I need to do something else. So what I do is stop talking. That's the most important thing for men, is to stop talking. Now, why is that so important? Now, this is the exciting part of my new work in Beyond Mars and Venus. And it's that the hormones are different. When the stress hormone happens, which is where we lose our ability to be heartfelt beings, we lose it. We're just reactive. You're angry with me, I'll hit you back. You criticize me, I'll criticize you back. Right. You reject me, I reject you back. You love me, I'll love you back. See, the conditional love part of it. And we're all conditional. That's just part of the brain. The front part of the brain is the only part of the brain with human DNA. And it's from there, if blood flow is going there and our heart can open. When our heart can open, we can reflect on our reactions and change them. And so what I do is I go to my cave, I realize the most important thing is don't talk, particularly if we're having a conversation. I might have a little stress. If I stop talking and listen more in a way that makes me feel successful, then my stress will go down. So let's understand the biology of cortisol, the stress hormone. For men, cortisol, which keeps you from being heartfelt and having the front part of your brain active, right? This is where we can make the best choices and decisions, where we can learn our lessons, where we can let go of rejection. We can learn to forgive. It's only from here that we can forgive and feel that love. Okay, so having said that, that's a cortisol response. What will lower the cortisol response when we're talking language of hormones? For women, it's estrogen. For men, it's testosterone. A man needs 10 times or more of testosterone just to feel stress-free. And for him to feel in love and feel those magic feelings he felt in the beginning, his testosterone needs to double, whatever it normally is when he feels good. So for some men, maybe it's 20 times more than a woman that makes him feel good. He does that on his own, his work, his self-esteem, his solving problems, his doing good deeds. All these things make him feel like a good person. I'm of service to the world. His testosterone goes up, but he's still not in love. To be in love, it has to go even higher. So that's what a relationship can be. That's called making love. It's higher levels, caring about someone, sharing with them, dedicating yourself, being selfless to them, fidelity to them. These are like the wonderful gifts of love a man provides and a woman provides. But for a man to feel that spontaneous feeling, his testosterone needs to be very high compared to a woman. For a woman, her estrogen levels have to be 10 times higher than a man's just to be happy. And for her to fall in love and feel that, everything is good. I'm so happy. I'm so lucky. I'm a happy person. That wonderful experience we have at times. If you measure her hormones, her stress hormone is completely down and her estrogen has doubled. So these are biological realities. Now, what's interesting, research shows us, is that when women talk about what they feel and they feel safe to say whatever they feel, their estrogen goes up. That's why we have, in the Catholic religion, they have confession that you talk to somebody. And then the modern, we have therapists. Women come to my office, they talk about their feelings, and then they feel better when they leave. It's a natural phenomena of talking about feelings, raises estrogen. Now, for men, talking about feelings can make you feel good, but it can also, if you do too much of it, lower your testosterone. Men, testosterone is analytical. It solves problems. It doesn't complain. It never complains. Now, when I go to my cave, this is the magic. I know if I sit there and stew and complaining, my estrogen is going to keep going up. And particularly if when I'm talking to her and we start to have a little bit of an argument, I immediately stop talking and I change the gears. And I say, I'm not going to give my point of view until she feels completely heard. So it's really ladies first. It's women first. That's the biology here. And if you don't understand the biology, then men go, why does she go first? Women will often say, you're not listening to me. And a man will say, well, you're not listening to me. No, that's if we were the same, but we're not the same. The biology is when a woman feels heard and safe to express what's inside of her, her estrogen goes up, her stress level goes down, blood flow goes to the front part of the brain. She can open her heart, and suddenly she feels like, I can trust this guy. I feel safe with him. I can appreciate this guy. And women have the most amazing capacity to appreciate a man who's not perfect, because no man is perfect. We all know that. And here's a woman who can appreciate him for that. And men are such a better version of the men in the past. I mean, guys are so much better. The old guys, they didn't even wash, and just like, but women could love them because men in those days, they knew their job. See, culture told men what your job is.
Right.
But our job has changed, because as soon as women can provide for themselves, they don't need men as providers primarily. So what they need is to depend on him for an emotional support. So I understood that one of the greatest gifts I could give to my wife, there's many, was always to create a safe place for her to express what she feels. And so I go to my cave. So suddenly I'm not feeling it safe. Now my reactions are happening. My stress level's up. So what do I have to do? I have to increase my testosterone. So to increase my testosterone, I need to go and do something that will help my testosterone go up. Now, for me, I meditate, I pray. If you pray and you meditate, think about what is meditation, but becoming quiet the mind. Well, for men, that raises their testosterone. Now, for women, it raises their testosterone, but primarily what women need to cope with stress is to talk about their feelings. So, so many of their religious hymns, they pray to God, oh, God is terrible, woe is me, we can't eat, we can't do this. It's sharing feelings to the God. And that is so wonderful. And one of the problems for women today is they're way on their male side producing testosterone, solving problems, earning money, sacrifice outside the home. Mm-hmm. Their biology needs to also have this estrogen. Mm-hmm. And so we need new relationship skills for a man to help a woman produce estrogen. And that is safety. So I would go to my cave and I'd say to my wife, I just want you to know, I'm coming back. I'll be back. I go to my cave. I do something to produce testosterone. For some men, it could be exercise. That also produces testosterone. Another, it could be puzzles, a hobby. Mm-hmm. It could play a game, solve a problem at work.
What about the nothing box? Is that another way to raise testosterone?
Women say, what are you thinking? He says nothing, because he is saying nothing. There's nothing there. Our way of coping with stress is to forget our problems temporarily. So we're built, they did a Harvard study where they showed men and women, they sit down and they measure the brain activity. As soon as the women sat down, they said, now relax. And the women's brain sped up, more activity. And they say, what are you thinking? And she says, I'm thinking all the things I should be doing that I'm not doing right now. Now, the men, they saw the brain activity almost completely stopped, literally stopped when they said, relax. Well, he goes, well, there's nothing to do. I like that. And so then they say, and what are you thinking? Nothing. because that's the nothing folder. It's like right there, there's nothing going on. And that's what you do when you go to your cave. You temporarily forget whatever problems there are. And that's why it's really important for men to realize if you verbalize blame, if you verbalize criticism to your partner, what you're doing is building estrogen and lowering your testosterone. That's not good. The next thing that happens is you only increase your upset feelings when you start blaming if you're on your male side. Now, what women can do is they need to talk about their feelings. But here's the problem, whether you're a man or woman, when you express negativity, anger, frustration, disappointment, guilt, when you make your partner feel bad or make them frighten them, intimidate them, whenever you do that, you're training your brain to use negativity to get what you want. And this is the animal brain. You see, we all have an animal brain inside. The DNA of most of our brain is the DNA of an animal. The only part of the brain the size of our palm has human DNA. And that's the part of us where if we're not stressed, we're not in fight or flight, we're not in that automatic reaction, then we can come from our heart. Now, this doesn't mean you don't love your partner if you're angry with them. But what we need to recognize is when you're angry, when you're disapproving, you're rejecting, you're not loving. Love is acceptance. Love is empathy. Love is compassion. Love is generosity. Love is not trying to change someone unless they're asking for help. Otherwise, don't try to change me. Men, don't try to talk your wife out of her feelings. If she's upset, don't tell her you're getting upset over nothing. It is a big mistake we men make. We want to minimize her feelings. And if you minimize her feelings, guess what she's going to do? The monkey brain will do. Amplify. So this is male and female. Minimize, amplify. So if you want to complain to your husband, only do it occasionally if you're a woman. Otherwise, you're training your brain to use complaints to get what you want. So then whenever you're not feeling I'm getting what I want, your brain will look for something to complain about. This is the neuroplasticity of the brain. And so as you get older, and many women are older, I counsel all these people, their brain goes into automatic. They're always looking at problems, always, because they train their brain, use negative feelings, use disapproval, use frustration, use hurt, use, your story to get what you want. So now when you want more, your brain goes right into, okay, what's my story? What's upsetting me? And the brain actually looks for things to be upset. Now, I'll give you an example. This works on men. It's just 10 times bigger for women, 10 times bigger for women. The magnification. When you don't feel heard, your estrogen levels go down. So what you want to do is amplify your feelings. It's literally the monkey says, the monkey part of us, they don't have language. See, they're different from us. And I step on my monkey wise foot and she goes, ow. And I laugh. Then she goes, ow, ow. And then I step again. We get louder and louder in order to communicate because we don't have words. It's like what they say with children, use your words, not your fists. And I say, use your words, not your negative emotions. We have to get out of this habit. And then we see every time you express negative emotion to get what you want with a man, you will always get less. I'll say it again. You will always get less because negative emotions about him say he failed. And if he failed you, his testosterone goes down and he loses his ability to feel the love for you. He knows he loves you. He makes a commitment to you, but knowing you love someone and feeling it and then acting from that feeling is two different things.
Really true. So let's summarize the magic of the cave. You can meditate, pray, exercise, hang out in your nothing box. Any other suggestions?
Another thing I can do, there's a lot of things. Anything that a man enjoys doing that takes his focus is going to produce testosterone. Anything he does where he fails is going to lower his testosterone. So I have a convertible. I have 2 cars. Actually, I have 3 cars, but one's a convertible and 2 are convertibles. Now I keep track. And all I have to do, if it's a sunny day and I'm stressed, I get in my convertible and I drive around. I happen to have a Bentley. So it's very powerful. So I feel the power of this Bentley convertible sports car. And not I have to drive fast. I just feel the power, and I don't drive for a drive. I go to the beach, I come back home, I feel better. I might go play tennis with a friend. I might play a little video game. But the idea is not too long. You can't do too long. You say, I'm just doing this to feel better. And then when you feel better, you reflect on the conversation that upset you, or you reflect on what your partner did that upset you, and you forgive them. You basically go into, she's doing the best she can. I love her. And if I go and criticize her for what she did, it doesn't help anything. If she asks me for advice, I can give it to her. But my job is not to change her, because I don't want her changing me. I want her to love me just the way I am. So I'm going to do that for her. I'm going to love her just the way she is. And some men go, but how is she going to know she did the wrong thing? You have to understand women. They're always thinking they did the wrong thing. They're always trying to do better. You don't have to get her to do that. And what women need to know is he also is that way. When men are unhappy, usually in marriage, they'll say to me, I'm unhappy because my wife's not happy. And the wife will say, I'm unhappy because he ignores me. He doesn't listen to me. He doesn't plan dates for me. He's not affectionate for me. And that's the way women are. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a woman's job to notice what's missing, and a man's job is to solve it. It's just today, without an understanding of how men and women are different and the new challenges we face in this modern world, we don't know what to do in order to make the relationship better. And so we keep thinking, I'm doing what works, and it's not working. And we blame our partners. We need to let go of blame and reevaluate our limited knowledge of modern times, how to cope with the modern stress of life.
Very enlightening, Dr. Gray. Thank you. I'm wondering, it's been 25 years since your book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus first came out?
Yes.
So I'm wondering, what are the points in this book that over the years have proven themselves to be true again and again?
What's interesting is what I've noticed a lot. I already knew. I've been doing this for 10 years before I wrote that book. So, I had audiences around the world going, yes, you're following me around. Yes, it's so true. But things have changed. Gradually, more and more women will say, I feel like I'm from Mars and my husband's from Venus. Is there something wrong with me? I said, no, nothing wrong with you. But if you're not experiencing happiness and joy in your life, you're out of balance. And so I have no job. I have no wish to change anybody if everything's working for them. But if it's not working, improve communication in a way that will help balance your hormones. So that means women first when it comes to talking about feelings. It means appreciating men for what they can do as a priority rather than focusing on what they can't do. And a lot of techniques and tools, a lot, it's not just a conversation, but you get the basics here. Is that if you say to a man, oh, what a good idea, his testosterone goes up. You can practice this. Watch, his body posture will change. Oh, what a good idea. Oh, that makes sense. Or occasionally go, oh, you're right. You're right. You see all those little things. Oh, that's so interesting. Amazing. You always look at it in an interesting way. Or you're so funny sometimes. I can't believe it. Those acknowledgments go a long, long way for a man's testosterone to come up. And the same thing men have to realize. Little things, lots of little things like, honey, you're so beautiful. Gentle hugs. I give my wife 4 hugs a day minimum. That means I wake up, I find her, I give her a hug. Non-sexual hug. It takes about 4 to 5 seconds. You don't just give a quick hug. Because when you do a non-sexual hug, what happens is a hormone called oxytocin begins to rise. And that makes her feel safe. And then that allows her estrogen levels to rise, which allows her to appreciate what you can do right, as opposed to focus on what you can't do and what you haven't done and what you won't do in the future because you didn't do it in the past. Women's brain is so busy. When a woman, when a woman feels neglected, her stress level goes up because her estrogen levels are low. At that time, this is measurable. She'll have 8 times more blood flow, increases. Blood flow goes to the hippocampus of the brain, which is the emotional memory. And think about the emotional memory as like a library that records everything. And the first floor is all the good things that he does and all the sweet feelings and the good times. And the second floor is every mistake he's ever made. And if she's under stress, she goes to the library, gets in the elevator, goes to number 2 floor, and that's all she can remember. She experiences a kind of temporary amnesia and forgets any good thing he's ever done and remembers all his mistakes. And men foolishly, we don't understand this, so we foolishly correct her. She says, you never take me out anymore. You always ignore me. Yesterday I took you. Remember we went here. Remember we did that. It's literally yes, but. Yes, but. All you're going to get, men, is yes, but. So don't try to convince her. Never try to convince your partner. That's the whole thing. And for women, if you want more, don't try to convince him to give you more. Do the opposite. See, there was this popular TV show years ago called Seinfeld. Do you remember Seinfeld?
Of course.
And George, who's the loser, became a winner by doing the opposite. So much of what I teach is just do the opposite. If you want to complain a little to your husband about something, you can just simply say, now, honey, I just want to talk about something for a few minutes. Already his blood pressure goes up. But you quickly say, I just want to talk about something for a few minutes. That already calms him down a little bit. And then you say, and it's not a big deal. As soon as you say it's not a big deal, he goes, oh, okay, I can listen. And if it's not a big deal on your side, you know what he's going to do? He's going to amplify his empathy and his understanding. The more you say it's not a big deal, the more he's going to go, well, tell me about it. Okay, I'll try to change this. All right, I hear you. Because you said it's not a big deal. It's the opposite of what the monkey brain does. If you're unhappy, you want to amplify. And it's what a man needs to do is, we already see that how men cope with stress is by minimizing. So if he minimizes her, she's going to amplify more. But instead, she minimizes. She just says the phrase, it's not a big deal. I just need to share this. Then he'll listen more. But if she amplifies, it is a big deal. You should listen to me. You don't do this. Or she gives a lot of reasons why he should listen to her. All those reasons just cause him, as she amplifies, he minimizes, and then he forgets it because it's a source of stress. You have to many women say he forgets everything. First of all, let's get this clear. This amygdala in women, it's twice as big. Not amygdala, hippocampus. Yeah. The hippocampus is twice as big in many women than a man's, and most. And that basically means you remember anything that has to do with relationships more than a man. So when you wonder to yourself, why does he forget? Why does he always forgets? I can't believe he doesn't forget. She often attributes that to what he forgot because he doesn't love me, because I'm not important to him, because he cares more about somebody else than me. His work is more important. I'm not important and has nothing to do with any of that. We have to realize what is reality. It has to do with, he has a smaller amygdala and also
hippocampus.
His hippocampus. His hippocampus remembers things that have to do with minimizing stress in his life. And the biggest stress for a man is to solve those problems in the outer world so I can make my wife happy. That's the biggest stress he has. Often women say, oh, he only thinks about his work. Why? Because he thinks if I work hard, then you'll be happy. But the truth is, once you get your basic needs met, a woman's needs are not like you have to work harder to make more money. I prefer you give me more attention, more affection, more empathy, more romance, more conversation. So many times a woman will say something, she'll start talking, and a man's mind just goes somewhere else. And there's no response from him. So I teach women a basic skill. If you're talking and he sort of floats off, first of all, don't take it personally. It's not about you. It's his mind. There wasn't any problem to solve. His mind wants to go to a problem to solve where he can get paid, so to speak, get a reward for it. That's what bumps up testosterone. So when you're talking and then there's this dead silence, you simply say to him in a playful tone, and now it's your turn to say something like, and tell him what he should say. You have these expectations. He should have some comment. He should say something. He should respond to that. Like, oh, what a good idea. Or, oh, I haven't had that experience before. Or, oh, and were you happy about that? He doesn't know to say these things. It doesn't come up in his mind. It's not that he doesn't love you. You see, women, you have Women often have unrealistic expectations. If somebody was in a wheelchair, you wouldn't say to them, if you
Walk.
love me, walk. They're not going to do it because you have a realistic expectation. But if you don't understand how men are different, then you'll have these unrealistic expectations. And then you get your feelings hurt. And then you put a message around the whole thing. Well, if he doesn't respond, then he doesn't love me. I shouldn't even talk to him. He doesn't care about me.
Right.
I can never get what I want. I married the wrong guy. I'm stuck. So it just goes down, down, down. And we're giving this little divine child inside of us, the monkey part of us. It just listens to whatever you tell it. And then it reacts. I'm with the wrong person. I'll never get what I want. Oh, he doesn't love me. Oh, I can't express this. Oh, I have to do everything myself. No, but you've got to train him.
Right.
Men today have to be trained in the new relationship skills. And they're not that hard once you know the training and how to train, but you've got to do it with the right attitude. You can't go, how could you not respond? Why don't you know? Why didn't you remember? You should. That just pushes it down. That pushes it down as opposed to good training.
Okay. So when you say that women need to minimize, right? Because we make everything big and we should say it's not a big deal. Okay. Yeah. So should men maximize?
Men will maximize empathy. He'll go, oh, but I want to fix that. I want to solve that. I want to do what you want. He'll show more interest in it. But I'm not saying minimize your feelings. I'm saying just say, this is not a big deal. If it is a big deal, you should say it's a big deal. But having said that, if it is a big deal, first talk to a friend, talk to a holy person, talk to God, talk to your journal, write out all the things your monkey brain wants to say, and you listen to it. Right. Or say a prayer to God and complain to God. You see, one of the big problems for people today is they've lost touch with their spirituality.
Right.
The whole point for women to produce estrogen is to feel that somebody hears me, somebody listens to me, and I can express how I feel. And they'll respond. There'll be a response. You need to have that. I have a need and somebody fulfills it. That's estrogen production. Now, if you were a woman in the old days where you weren't allowed to make money and men made money, you needed a man to make money. You didn't judge him. It was your culture that set it up this way. And also, I've been to Africa. I've been to South America. I've been with the natives in the villages. The women, they're not complaining about the men. They're all pregnant and they're all helping each other and they're all with their children and they're talking all day long. They're busy, busy, busy. And the men are all sitting around sharpening their tools at night. They're not talking. Nobody's expecting conversation at dinner. So again, after you've been married for many years, there's nothing to say. You know, a man just doesn't have that. Well, I already told you where I'm from and what I dream about, some of my problems, some of my issues, what I've learned about. What else is there to say? Men have nothing to say. So we just sit there and eat our meal. And a woman goes, this is like deafening silence. It's disconnection, you know? And so she's trying to get connection. So she talks too much. Okay. So she can, and then she gives up talking altogether. But here's what she can do. There's techniques for all these things. You can say to him, honey, I know there's not much to say because we love each other and we're connected to each other, but I like to hear your voice. And you only need to talk for like 2 minutes max. And then you can gradually build it up to 3 minutes and then 4 minutes. I just need to hear your voice. And so would you tell me 3 things you did today? Like, what did you order for lunch at work? Or which person did you talk to when you made that call? Anything, just give me 3 things you did today. And if you can talk for 2 to 3 minutes, I'm a happy wife. Just start with little. You know, there's an old story, which I think everybody knows. They've heard some version of it, but I want to mention it. It's How to Get More. And it was a poor couple in Russia, and they wanted to get married, but they had no money. And they went to the rabbi and said, what can we do? And the rabbi said, you know, the man on the hill, he's the Scrooge. He doesn't help anybody. But the rabbi said, you know, he's got so much money. I'm sure he'll help you with the wedding. Go and ask for help. And the couple went to the Scrooge, big house, lots of money. And they said, oh, we're getting married and we'd have no money. Would you help us? And the Scrooge said, oh, certainly I'll help you, and reached in his pocket and pulled out a penny and handed them the penny. And they looked at the penny and they looked at his house and they said, we don't want your penny. And they threw the penny down and walked off feeling resentful. So they talked to the rabbi and they said, did he give you money? And they said, oh, he gave us nothing. He gave you nothing? Wait, he gave us a penny, but we threw it back. We don't need his penny. It's, oh no, a penny, that could buy some flour. A penny was worth a bit more in those days. And he said, go say we made a big mistake. We want to apologize. We realized we were ungrateful. Would you be willing to give us the penny again? Because it will certainly help. He said, certainly. He gave the penny and said, oh, thank you so much. I think we can buy this and this and this. And they walked off. He said, wait 1 minute. Maybe you need some entertainers. Here's $10 for that. And then wait, maybe you need some of this. And then they said, oh, he ended up paying for the whole wedding because they kept being appreciative. And they said, oh, please come to our wedding. Oh, okay, I'd be happy to come to the wedding. And not only did they have a better wedding, but that man was transformed.
Wow.
He was given an opportunity to give what he could give. And then he could give more and give more. And I am a man. I understand that, Scrooge. If I do something and nobody appreciates it, I don't want to do it again. But if somebody finds acceptance and appreciation of what I can do based upon my limitations, then I want to do more and I want to do more. And what women don't realize is that every time you complain to a man, he has to start over. It's literally, I don't want to do it. If what I do isn't enough, then why do I bother? That's his tendency when he's under stress, low testosterone, all or nothing. And it's not just men, women doing all or nothing as well. They'll ask for help and they'll say, oh, okay, I'll do it. Okay, I'll just do it myself. I'll do it myself. And she walks around proud of herself. I do it all myself. He doesn't do anything for me. Instead of giving him another chance, finding another way to ask. If you ask for something and you don't get, maybe ask for a little less and a little less. And what men have to practice doing is when they feel their feelings are hurt, is you go to your cave, rebuild your testosterone, get in your car, do your exercises, do your prayer meditation, solve problems, play a video game, but not too long. And then feel better, then reflect on the last situation and find forgiveness, because it's easier to find forgiveness when your heart is open. And then you try to remember the good things she does for you and try to remember that she doesn't mean to do this. This is just her automatic brain. And what she needs is my help. She needs my help. And now we have the tools to help. What are the tools to help? Everything I can do that will produce estrogen in her body will help her. Listening, doing things for her, and signs of affection and warmth. So this is what I call scoring points. A lot of women say, conditional love is, I'll give to you, but you have to give to me. And we try to have unconditional love in our marriage for sure. But we're conditional beings. We are conditional beings. If somebody's mean to me, I feel like I don't want to give to you. So it's a natural thing, a give and take. So women, they will tend to give, and if they don't get back, they'll give more and they'll give more. But what starts happening is their brain will start thinking, I'm doing all the giving here and I'm not getting back. So actually what they're doing is keeping score. We all do it consciously or subconsciously. We're thinking, well, I did this for them, but are they doing that for me? A man thinks, I put in 8 hours for this. What's in it for me? If I go give a talk, I'll do a talk for free. But if they're making money from it, I should get some of the money. If they're not getting money, then I'm happy to give. So we keep score. That's just a part of life. How do women keep score? Men, you have to learn. See, the way we think, if I do something big, that should be 50 points. You should give me 50 points. If I made $1 million, I should get 1 million points for that. I'm a winner. I'm a successful guy. I bought you a new car. I should get 100,000 points for that. Okay, so that's how men think. Bigger is better. But when it comes to estrogen, you can give her 50 roses. You'll get 1 point. You can give her 1 rose. You get 1 point of estrogen. And that's a reality. That's scientifically verified when it comes to estrogen. The science shows us that if a woman has normal estrogen levels, which means she's happy, and you give her 50 roses, there'll be a surge of estrogen. And then after a while, it'll come back down. You can give her 1 rose and you'll get the same surge of estrogen. Now, on the other hand, if her estrogen levels are low because she's feeling pressure, stressed, she doesn't feel safe, she feels too much independent, I don't have help, I don't have support, her cortisol levels are up, her estrogen will be down. When her estrogen is down, you can give her 50 roses and you get only a tiny response, half a point. And you can give her 1 rose and you'll get the same half a point. So if a woman has low estrogen, what you do is you build up the points. Do lots of little things that to you don't seem that important, but to her biology, every act of affection and love scores equal to every other action. So big or little doesn't matter. It's how many, how much, how many times. So I give 4 hugs a day. I wake up, find my wife. If she has to find me, I don't get a point. I find her, I get the point. Then I say goodbye, I'm off. I find her and give her a hug. And if she's not in the room and I go look for her, I get an extra point for looking. Women play kind of a game of hide and seek, they hide in another room. Does he even care if I'm alive? And we men, we don't realize this. We come home and we have all our little children. They all run to us. And we play with the children. She might be making dinner if she's more the cook in the house. She's going to be over there. Yeah, he loves the children more than me. They're getting all the attention. What about me? I'm just a second-class person in this family. It's because her points are going down. You're not scoring with her. So what I learned, and this was a great lesson as a parent, she used to say, John, the kids only listen to you. They don't listen to me. I don't know what's wrong here. I said, I thought about that and I realized how I contributed to it because I used to come home and play with the kids. Then I realized they're seeing them as more important than her. They needed to look to me to make her more important than them. And she is. And the children, she need to know it. And she needs to feel it. She's a star and I'm a star. We both have to give that to each other. Kids, we love them. Of course, we love our kids unconditionally, but each other, we need to show we're more important. That's very important. So I come home and the first thing I'd say is they come and give me hugs and where's your mom? And we go to her first. And then I'd be at the computer and she'd say, dinner's ready. And I used to I'll be in a little while, kids, get into dinner now. And then I realized, wait a second, I wasn't making her number one. So she'd say, dinner's ready. I said, okay, let's go. Jump up and go. Quick response to mom's request says to the children, mom is important. And then she told me, ever since you started doing that, the kids are really listening to me. It's like, I'm the big boss. I go, yeah. And it's not like I'm not the big boss too. It's that parents need to love each other. And that's the greatest gift we can give to our children.
Yes.
And
yes,
we need to learn how to give each other the love we need. And women need lots of affection, lots of touch, lots of listening, and lots of sacrifice, not too much, but it's nice that a romantic date, for example, needs to always be what she wants. That's it. It's not romance. It's not about, let's find out what my husband wants to do and let's do that. That's nice. That's not romance. Romance is the man provides for the woman. But how to create that? Well, what a woman needs to do, because she's the one who complains there's no romance. She's the one who complains he's ignoring me. You got to give him a job to do. Men need a job. So you say to him, honey, next week, I was reading the paper, going online, and there's 3 things I noticed that I'd really like to do. Would you take care of me? Would you plan a date for me and pick one of these 3 things? Then he picks. If he picks, then he gets credit for taking you on the date. His testosterone goes up. But if you pick, then you feel like you're the man and you're doing everything. But you're not doing everything what I just suggested. You're being a grown-up, responsible to get what you need and ask for it in a way that works for him and works for you. And so that is a beautiful thing, because then you don't feel as a woman the pressure. Well, I said I wanted to do this, and so now he's going to do it. What if he doesn't like it? What if he doesn't want to do it? Then you feel all that pressure. Women should not be feeling pressure. Pressure is good for men. Taking a risk is good for men. Sacrifice is good for men. It's strength. It's power. I got these big muscles because I have a gym guy who comes, a trainer who makes me lift more than I want to lift. but then I feel fantastic. I feel like Superman because of it. My body has more muscle at 70 years old than I ever had in my life, because I have this trainer who comes and says, you can do it for me, man. I know you can do it. You're right there. And so I can't like say no. I'd be embarrassed, I get this trainer and I paid him. And so we need that as men, the encouragement, the motivation. And the encouragement and motivation is not telling us what to do. It's telling us what will make you happy, and then showing us that we do make you happy. Wow, what a great life when we start realizing that's what's most important to men. What's most important to women, the things that will produce their estrogen; for men, the things that will produce their testosterone. And one other thing, which is so key here, never blame your partner for not making you happy, because whose job is it to be happy?
Our own job.
It's our job. You can't look at your partner and say, you make me unhappy. You can't do that. Otherwise, you're a monkey. You're a child. You're making other people responsible for you. But then what does your partner do for you if they don't make you happy? Their job is to make you happier. My job is not to make my wife happy. Certainly, I don't want to make it worse, but her job is to be happy. My job is to make her happier, but I can certainly help her in whatever way I can. But she can't, if she's a wise person, and Bonnie was a wise person, she took responsibility when she was unhappy and she had complaints. She learned not to use complaints to get what she wanted. She would talk to a friend. She would talk to a coach. She would write out her feelings. She had all these journals where she would complain about me. So you write out your complaint. You say, now, what does that complaint make me feel? And then write the complaint 10 times. Really? Because he's going to hear it 10 times worse than you think it is. So you have a complaint, write them all out. And then for every complaint you have, your job is to write it 10 times. See what a complainer you are. You could really see that how awful it is to complain to somebody. That's not love, but you want to get in touch with, you want to hear that voice inside of you, but not use it to get more. But you use it simply, you express it like a parent listening to a child, and what you feel, an emotion, anger, sadness, fear, embarrassment, guilt, shame, hurt, whatever the emotion is that goes with the complaint. And then write out what I want, what I wish, what I want, what I wish, what I want, what I wish. And when you start flowing in what you want, you're not going to show this to him. This is just you connecting with you. It's like a river that's stagnant, is murky and ugly and not good. But once it starts to flow, the flow of negative emotion self-purifies until it becomes a heartfelt soul's desire. And every one of us in our soul, we want to be loving, we want to be understanding, we want to be caring, we want to be generous, we want to be forgiving, but it needs to be heard. And the first person to hear it, we need to hear it first. We could also share it with a friend. We could offer it to God if we have a belief and experience of the divine. And that's so beautiful to do. But you don't have to give it to your partner. You're doing it for yourself to find your loving self again by letting go of negativity, never using negativity to change somebody else. And the more you can come back to love, the more the world around you will reflect that more and more. And the classroom to do that is marriage. The classroom to do that is marriage. If you're not married to somebody, if it's what a soulmate is somebody who is you're attracted to, because they have the ability to push every button inside of you so you can grow in your ability to love. It's not like a perfect person who's always making you happy. It's a person who will push buttons, but because of your connection, you're with the right skills, you can come back to your love and you'll grow in love. And 40 years with Bonnie, so sweet. All the things that used to bug me about her, I began to become. Like, I was very messy. Now I'm so neat because I embraced that part of her. In the beginning, I resisted that part of her. And for her, she would like be more relaxed in a messy house and whatever. It wasn't as big a deal because she had accepted that part of me. So what we have to learn to do is realize that your perfect partner has differences that if you make peace with them and find love with them, you realize that it's within you and it wants to come out. And that's why we're so attracted to each other.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And we really borrow these parts.
I like that phrase.
Beautiful.
I like that. Borrow.
It's beautiful. And I think that's why people have, people have lost sight of the power of commitment of marriage. And it's that lifelong commitment that gets us there.
What commitment means for me is when I got upset with her, my commitment, I'm not going to go find love somewhere else. I'm not going to leave this, but I'm not going to suffer through this, because I realized from my prefrontal cortex that if I'm upset, that's my problem, not her problem. And so I have to find my way back to the guy who knelt before her and said, "You're the one for me, honey. No one will ever come between us. You are the most important person in my life. I will die for you. I will die for you." That's who we were when we got married. That's our soul talking. And then life gives us stresses and we disconnect with that. So commitment is, I'm not going to go find it with somebody else. I'm going to find it within me and come bring it forth to her. Now, there are situations where you could be committed to someone and they're violent or they're drug addicted, whatever. Part of the commitment is, I don't want to make your problem worse, so I'm going to back off. If you can solve your problem, we can try again. If you can't solve that big problem, then we can't try again. So you don't minimize everything. You just tell him, when you're upset with him, now, this is not a big deal. It's my feelings. I just need to talk about it for a few minutes. You don't need to say anything. This is my stuff. I got triggered. This is my issue. But it would help me so much if you would just listen to it. Now, the first step is to practice sharing what you feel and think with a man, your partner, asking him not to say anything, that you just need to feel heard. And it's very hard for a man to listen to complaints. We're all biologically designed to push away complaints and be right, be perfect. We all want to be that. Mm-hmm. Very hard to hear criticism. So in the beginning, to train him to listen to you, you talk about other things that have not directly to do with him. You can always complain about the world because you're not asking him to change. See, then you're not getting addicted to complaining, but you get to produce your estrogen. Because truly, the biggest producer of, not the biggest, one of the biggest producers of estrogen is to feel intellectually naked, that I can share whatever I feel. And if I feel upset about something, I can share that. Oh my God, what an estrogen producer that is. But in the beginning, as you learn this, if you share negativity about your partner, usually you're doing it because you want them to change. So it doesn't free you. It makes you more addicted. And even if you were masterful and you were just sharing and you didn't want him to change, but you accept him just the way he is, but you wanted to change. When you don't call me, I get so angry inside and I really wish you wouldn't, but I'm just sharing that with you. But let's say you could do that without the intent to change him. Then what would happen is he would actually hear you, because it's your intent to change that causes men or women to shut down. If you're upset and my intention is to make you wrong for being upset, you will become more upset. Mm-hmm. And if you're bothered by something I do and your intention is that you're going to use your negative emotions to change what I do, punish me, guilt me, hurt, feel like a victim to me, and then you'll change. If that's your motivation, every man will resist. He will resist. Now, some men who don't have a strong sense of self, they will go, okay, I feel bad, but they don't change. They just weaken. They either fight, they run away, or they fake it, or they fold. The 4 F's. Fight, fake, fold, or fleet. What is it? Fight or flight, fake or fold. A lot of men are just faking it, or their wives are upset. Yeah, I hear you, honey. Yeah, I hear you, honey. I hear you, honey. No, don't fake it. If you can't hear it with love, then say, I need to take a time out. I'll think about it and walk away. You don't want to hide what's going on. You want to behave in a way where you don't have to hide what's going on. That's the best thing. Be authentic. Authenticity is what everybody wants today. We just don't know how to get there. And we've covered today a few points to get there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But just, before we say goodbye, authenticity, expressing, saying it all. But a woman really can't say it all to a guy because he can't handle all of, so she needs to go to her friend.
Nobody can handle it if you're criticizing him.
Or what about if she's just like, it's just so many emotions and it's too much for him in general?
About what? Is it about him or something else?
No, just like, she's just very emotional. So many guys. I mean, I'm a marriage therapist, so I hear it all the time. Like, it's too emotional. Like,
Yeah, no, I think the best thing for women when you are expressing emotion and you're not blaming a man and he's not hearing it as blame. That's important. It will build his testosterone if he knows his job. So she has to give him the job description, which is, oh, I had such a strong, I got triggered. Triggered is a good phrase. I was at work and whatever, it triggered me. And I just want to talk about my feelings and let them go. You have enough presence of mind to let him know his job is not to make you feel better. His job is to hear you and try to connect with what you feel. And that's all he has to do. Right. So you say, I had such a stressful day. I just want to talk about it. I had so much trouble with the kids today. I don't need you to solve it. Actually, I don't want you to say anything. Please don't. I need to just talk about my feelings and then I'll feel better. And I won't take more than 10 minutes. Will you give me 10 minutes? And so you have to have, you have to boundaries as well.
Right. But in a way, you're giving him an opportunity to problem solve, because you're saying, this is all I need. I need you to. So in a sense, it is problem solving. It
is. He needs to know it's problem solving. Otherwise, I can't hear this anymore. And, for Bonnie, I remember the day when she said that to me. She said, John, she was going on and on about problems that we were having, or she was having with me and the lifestyle. You work so much. We're so busy. People are calling all the time. I don't have time for the kids and the school. I don't like to, she just went on and on and on. And I'm like, knowing I'm supposed to listen, but all my life force is being drained out of me. Like what you say, men can't hear all that emotion. And she saw that and she said, oh, John, I know this is a difficult conversation for you. I know this must be so hard to hear, but it is helping. I just want you to know it's helping. And I greatly appreciate it. Bang! I was ready for another 5 minutes. It was like, men just need to know there's a point. Why am I doing this? I'm going to get rewarded for it. I'm being helpful. And in his mind, logically, talking about problems doesn't make you feel better if you're from Mars. Right. What men do to feel better if you're from Mars is to forget your problems. But like I said at the onset of our conversation today, Mars and Venus, beyond Mars and Venus, so many men are on their female side and they're talking more about their feelings. They talk about their problems. And women secretly hate it. Women secretly go, he's like a child. I've got another child to take care of. And the last thing it's going to allow her to do is find her feelings. It's like they get into this whiny, complainy, irritable, grumpy, pouty. Oh, it's just so distasteful if they could just see themselves through her eyes. But often she can't really be critical of it because she would like to, on some level, to have someone make it safe for her. But the more he does it, the less she can find her female emotions. Mm-hmm. See, emotion, positive or negative, that's our female side. Mm-hmm. See, right now I have all this love feeling. My estrogen's very high, but my testosterone is higher because I'm solving problems. I'm confident, I'm capable, and you're appreciating me and smiling. I know I'm helping people. So my estrogen can go very high, but my testosterone stays at a much higher level. When a man's testosterone drops and his estrogen is high, he will always have negative emotions. Mm-hmm. What people don't realize is anger in a man is actually high female hormones, low male hormones. We always thought that, ferocious men, they're angry. That's some kind of high testosterone guy. Biologically, his testosterone is sinking as he gets angry and his estrogen is going up. He's insecure. He's afraid. A man is angry. I have to point out to him, if you're angry, you're actually afraid. Did you know that? No, I'm not afraid. I said, yes, you are. Because if you were confident, you'd be relaxed. What's the big deal? I've got it in control. But the monkey brain, once you have this stress reaction, men's estrogen goes up, his testosterone goes down. For women, once she has this stress reaction, she doesn't feel safe. Her testosterone goes up. She becomes guarded and her estrogen goes down. So she doesn't connect with her feelings. But the symptom of that is feeling overwhelmed and not having, I have no time. I have no support. I don't have enough. Whatever I have is not enough, not enough, not enough. Because she's on her male side, not on her female side. On her female side, it's about appreciation. It's about love. It's about emotion, and also even negative emotion is her female side. If she feels I'm expressing my emotion and somebody hears me and I'm not trying to use the emotion to change someone.
Right. Okay.
If you're using negative emotion to change someone, you're solving a problem. And if you're using negative emotion to solve a problem, you're making testosterone, which pushes the estrogen down. That's just crazy. Once you understand what's going on with these hormones, it's amazing.
It is brilliant, brilliant. Wow, Dr. Gray. Wow, just you are flowing with wisdom and experience. You really are a living legend, and it's what an honor. What an
I have to
honor
say,
with you.
thank you for saying that. I'm just almost 70 right now, and I feel like I have 50 years of wisdom. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
What a great life to be able to share wisdom with people and know that you're helping people.
Yes.
And I hope that we'll be able to share with people my website. Can we talk about it?
Please, let everyone know where to find you and how to find out more and learn more, please.
That'd be great, because I have a free seminar there right on the front page. It's called How to Get Everything You Want in Relationships. And we get rave reviews. I mean, thousands of people just love it. It's a 3-day free class. It's like Men Are From Mars updated. So that's right there on the front page. There's a course for single men, a course for single women, women in relationship, and men in relationship. So 4 different courses. It's free.
Wow.
Please come and enjoy it. There's all these wonderful video blogs that I do and my daughter Lauren does. She's carrying on the tradition. She's smarter than me. She's smarter than me. You'll see. She's amazing. And there's a course particularly I like to recommend for women, which is called How to Get Me Time. Because so many times women give more because they don't know how to receive and give to themselves. And they don't know how to set limits, and they don't know how to ask in a way that motivates a man. I want to give you one example before we're over, because there's solutions for everything. Because when I talk about this, women will say, yeah, but that won't work with my husband. That won't work with my husband. I've already given you several examples. Here's another one. I promise you, not complaining will work. So amazing. But then you need to be able to ask for help. Don't ask for anything for 30 days of no complaining. Then you can start. And here's the way you do it. You have a complaint. And now you're going to do just the opposite. You're going to minimize it, just like I said before. So here's a story from my marriage where she did this technique. And I learned from her. She figured it out. So we live in a big house. And to go from one end of the house to the other, you have a lot of light switches along the way. And I consistently would leave lights on, and she consistently would feel frustrated. Now in the beginning, she'd say, John, you left the light on. Would you try to remember? And I said, yeah, I'll try to remember. And I forgot. Then years later, me forgetting to turn on the light was no longer a little thing. It had become a big thing, because to her brain, it was like, if he doesn't respond to that request, then he doesn't love me. It no longer was, I have to turn out the light switch when I walk through, which really isn't a big deal. And it wasn't a big deal for many years, but now it's a big deal because she's put a meaning on it, which is he doesn't love me enough to do it. Has nothing to do with that. Has to do with, I just go forward. I don't look back, which is one of the best qualities of me, because I'm forgiving of everything. I never look back. I'm always looking forward. And okay, what can we do? How can we make it better? So, but one of the problems with it is I didn't turn out the lights. And literally she'd come in the room and look at me. You left the light on again. What can I say or do to make you remember? I was like, I don't know, honey, I'm trying. So one day she popped her head into the kitchen and she said, with a smile on her face, she said, John, I just want you to know, I'm noticing that sometimes you turn out the lights, and I really appreciate it. And yet sometimes you forget. So it's not a big deal, but if you can remember, it does make me happy. And then she immediately walked out of the room. She didn't wait for an apology. She didn't look at me for some kind of response. I will do it. She just dropped it like a feather. She said, now, John, I noticed you've been turning out the light, and it really makes me happy. It's not a big deal, but I just love it when you do it. Thank you. And walked out of the room. Now, some women who are very unhappy in their marriage, they'll say, oh, I have to walk on eggshells with him. I have to do all this stuff. I say, what I just did is called being loving. That's how you be loving. That's what love is. It's considering another person's perspective, how they hear things, and so forth. You don't think I, as a husband, have to go through hoops all the time to show my love? Oh, honey, you got a beautiful haircut. I see. Oh, let me give you some hugs. Oh, I want to plan this date for you. Oh, I got to do this. Oh, you're upset about this. Tell me more. Help me understand that better. Oh, what else? We do things because we love our partners, because we realize they need to hear certain things. They need us to do certain things, and we do our best, and we're never going to be perfect. And I understand women's frustration when I give them advice on what they should do. I'm already doing so much. And I go, you're just doing stuff that doesn't work on Mars. That's it.
Wow.
You have to learn to speak their language, and he has to learn to speak your language. And once you get it down, it's like learning a computer language. Boy, computers are wonderful once you learn the language. But if you don't know the language and the software, you're in big trouble.
Amazing. Wow. Thank you for that extra, just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And we're going to put your website link and everything, how to catch you, how to find you. And again, wow. Thank you. Just brilliant.
You're so welcome. And I feel honored to be a part of this summit and share this wisdom. There's nothing we need more in this world than love. And it starts at home. Starts at home. And the more we can generate that love energy, it will go out to the world and help people make better choices, better decisions, and answers can come.
Beautiful. Thank you, Dr. Gray, really, really.